When it rains in Arizona, it doesn't take too long for water to collect, no matter how big or small the downpour is. And if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, this could end up happening to you. Now, I can't say I know the story behind how this truck ended up here, but if I had to guess, I would say they either broke down and left to go get help, but the water got to it before they could get back, or they simply just picked a very unfortunate camping spot, considering this is right by a dam where water is supposed to be when it does rain every once in a blue moon in Arizona. Regardless, I hope everyone made it out okay and damages were minimal. But throughout the rest of today's video, we're going to do some drone exploring, travel down an abandoned road, and see what the desert looks like after a little bit of rain. Now we're at the start of the trailhead to the Devil's Canyon Bridge, and I gotta say, it's sounding very, very promising. Let's take a look. There's water in the creek, and quite a bit of it. I thought we were gonna have to wait till monsoon season to see some water down here. It rained for like a day, and all this stuff is coming down from the mountains. I made a video out here a couple weeks ago, and the creek was drier than cheese sitting out on a counter. And I did say that if we ever got any rain, I would come back out here and see what things are looking like. So I parked on the side of the road, jumped on my e-bike, and started to make my way toward the old bridge. It was a short ride, but it was so much fun hearing the sound of water flowing through the creek, which is something you don't hear too often in these parts. I still find it hard to believe that a few weeks ago I was out here making a video saying, we'll come back out here when there's water in the creek, and I thought it would take forever. Lo and behold, there's water out here. After checking out the creek, I decided to call it a day and head back home, but the very next day I went back out to that campground to see if the red truck was still underwater, and here's what I found. Well, it looks like someone must have came and got it. Would have been sitting right out there in the center. I wonder if these tire marks here are from the truck that pulled it out. I can only assume that whoever it was that parked there probably wasn't familiar with the area, because this is actually where water is supposed to collect when it rains, because there's a little dam over here. Actually, let's go check it out. If I'm not mistaken, I do believe they use this water for the mine up there. About 4 or 5 days ago, this would have been completely dry. You could walk around back here and even drive over there. But like I said, when it rains in Arizona, it doesn't take long for it to collect. This will probably last for a while yet, but after about a week, week and a half, probably I'll be gone. Just kind of thinking back on it now. I suppose that truck, this probably would have been the best way to come out, but there is another way to access it over there. But whoever went in there to pull out that truck, I had to get a little wet. But I'm gonna get the drone up and fly it around here a little bit. And then in about a half hour, we're gonna go down to the old Highway 60. I made a video on it a few weeks ago, but I told you guys if we ever get any rain, we're gonna ride bike back down there and see what it looks like with water flowing through the creek. It's a little windy, but I think we'll be okay. Whew. Nothing feels better than riding down a hill at extreme speeds on a mountain bike. So much fun. But we've been on the trail now for a few minutes and we're just about to make our descend down into Pinto Creek, and I am 100% confident there's going to be water down there because there's water trickling, well, not specifically right here, but water's trickling all down these canyon walls. And where does it collect? At the bottom of the creek. There's Pinto Creek Bridge down there. Absolutely gorgeous day out. And look, we still have some snow on the mountains. That'll be gone in a few days. The old road I'm riding bike on now is an abandoned part of the old Highway 60 that was built in the early 1920s. And once the new alignment of Highway 60 was put in toward the end of the 1940s, this old highway saw less and less traffic. It eventually became abandoned, and over time the road began to crumble and the elements started to take over. Now, I did do a video detailing the full history of this highway, and if you want to check that out, you can find the link down in the description, or just wait till the end of this video to click the card. As always, the question I get in most of my videos is, how on earth does my drone follow me while I'm riding bike downhill? And no, I do not have someone else manning the drone and staying close behind. The drone I'm using is the DJI Mini 4 Pro, and it comes with a feature called Active Track. In a nutshell, you have to select the subject that you want the drone to follow. In this case, it happens to be me on my bike. Now, once the drone has locked onto that subject, just press record, start moving, and the drone will start following. This drone even comes equipped with the 360-degree obstacle avoidance feature, which is what allows the drone to dodge all the small trees. And now you know. We made it to the wash, although water's not really gushing through the tunnel down there like I thought it'd be. But that's okay. Still had to come back and check it out. I'll get the drone down there too and see if anything washed up came down from the mountains. I doubt it, but it's worth taking a look. There's another area down there where the road is washed out. We'll go over there in a few minutes and check it out and see what that looks like. Not even a little trickle. I mean, you can see where water recently came down, but this is a spot that I thought would be raging with water. Someone recently told me in the comment section of a video that I did out here a few weeks ago that there's an old mine out here. I have yet to find it with my drone, but if you guys know where it's at, feel free to let me know. I figured I'd take a few minutes and see if I could find the old mine. Heck, last time I was out here I found a bathtub. I still have many questions about how that got there. But anyways, even if I didn't find the old mine, it's always worth flying around. You never know what could get washed down from the mountains after a good storm, or what could turn up in the creek bed after all the water has been absorbed into the ground. Before the old highway was built in the early 1920s, the only direct route to get from Superior to Miami was through an old wagon road, and it wouldn't surprise me if cowboys going back and forth from Phoenix to Globe would stop and set up camp along the old route. And who knows what they could have left behind? Spurs, gold, an old revolver, a rifle. You never know what could be lying in the dirt just inches from the old road. Well, the creek wasn't exactly flowing like I was expecting, but that's okay. It was still a fun little adventure to come out here again and see a little bit of water down there. But the sun's going to be setting in about an hour and a half, so we're going to close things out here and pick up tomorrow. We'll see you then.
The next day.
Now we are at another abandoned stretch of US Highway 60. For those of you that watch my channel regularly, you'll know that I came out here a few weeks ago and I did a video on a good portion of the abandoned US Highway 60 east of Superior, Arizona. But I could only go so far on that highway because the road was blocked off due to a rock slide. So now what I'm doing today is I'm starting from the complete opposite end and I'm gonna ride bike toward the rock slide, see what we can find, and see what's out here. So I parked over there just behind that bush and I had to crawl over the fence with my bike. Wasn't the easiest, but I did it. And this is the start of the opposite side of the old road. Oh, hey, what's this? Anybody know what that is? Here we have the newer stretch of US Highway 60. You can see the road just crumbling right there. I was pretty eager to start riding this portion of the old highway, but it did present a few surprises. One of my golden rules when biking in unfamiliar territory is to make sure I'm going slow enough in case I need to make a sudden stop, whether it's for wildlife, people listening to Katy Perry and not paying attention to their surroundings, or washed out parts of the road, just like you see here. Look how damaged and eroded this road is. Can you imagine taking an old car through here back in the 20s and 30s? The fence wasn't here back in the day, so if you went over the edge, that would have been a pretty tough landing. Actually, this probably wouldn't have even been the edge. This was probably all filled in, because I'm sure they blasted through here to make the new highway. But there's still some pretty exposed areas up the road here, which we'll get to. Compared to the other two sections of the abandoned Highway 60, I would say overall, this one isn't too bad. Sure, there's a lot of overgrowth coming up through the cracks in the road, and other than that washed out part we crossed a few seconds ago, for being 100 plus years old, it's not in too bad a shape. Now, in my opinion, I don't think people hike this old road too often, and I can only imagine what all the drivers passing by were thinking as they saw me up here on my bike. Also, I did keep my eyes peeled for any little thing of interest that might have been lying on the ground. You never know what old gems might have fallen out of someone's car back in the day when they pulled over to take a leak, change a tire, or look at the map again because they f***ed up the directions. Check out what we just found. I hope my camera can pick it up, otherwise I can kind of change the colors a little bit. But if you look in the center there, you can see the old white center line. Another reason why I wanted to stop here was because I think that was part of the old wagon road that existed before Highway 60 / the $1 Million Highway. And back in the day, they used a lot of big boulders to kind of support the road. Let's go check out the old wagon road. Looks like there's a little path here. I'm sure people come up here every once in a while. Check it out. Nothing too fascinating. Just gotta watch our step. You can kind of make out where the old road was. And I'm not sure, but I think it definitely didn't go up that way. So probably went up over there. So when you think about it, you have three roads. You have the old wagon road here, then you have the original US Highway 60, and then you have the new Highway 60 way over there. I love walking on old roads like this and just trying to imagine what travel would have been like back in the day. And of course, if these old roads could talk, could you imagine the stories they could tell us and the things they've seen? Gotta love nature. Whew, it's steaming. A lot of you guys have been telling me I need to invest in a metal detector and come out to these old roads and see what I can find. And trust me, I'm working on it, but I don't know a whole lot about metal detectors, and if I'm gonna make the investment, I'm gonna make sure I do my research. So if you guys have any recommendations on any good metal detectors, feel free to let me know. I honestly thought we had a little ways to go yet until we got to the rock slide. But it looks like this is as far as we can go. And actually, I think that rock slide that I ran into last time, I think it's right about there.
And I wasn't wrong. This was as far as I was able to make it last time, and this was as far as I could go this time. To me, it looks like they had to blast part of the old highway to make room for the new one.
I honestly thought there was a lot more road left, but that's as far as we can go. But that's okay, because now what we'll do is I'll give you guys the views heading back, and we'll do a lot more stopping and looking and just, see if there's anything we can find.
As I was turning around and preparing things for the short ride back, my drone drifted a little too far and didn't see the branches sticking out of a tree, and this is what happened next.
Don't.
And just like that, this became a search and rescue mission, and I had to go crawling through the bushes to retrieve my drone.
Well, I wasn't expecting that to happen, but then again, as I've preached before, the collision sensors on the Mini 4 Pro are not perfect. There it is. Doesn't look like the gimbal was damaged. If I busted the propellers, I can fix that. Gimbal's still on. I think we're okay. That was a close call. Before I send it up in the air, I'm just going to do a quick check and make sure that it's stable and it's not swerving around because we just crashed. Well, she seems to be holding up.
Thankfully, I didn't have any issues with my drone after the crash, and that's one of the things I absolutely love about this drone. It's so light that if you do crash, there's a good chance your drone will be okay, just as long as you're not flying it straight into brick walls. And just like that, I caught something out of the corner of my eye. Let's go check it out. On the way back to my car, I sent my drone further up into the hills to see if anything else would catch my eye before I ended up calling it a day. And after flying around and scanning the land, I didn't find anything too interesting. But on the way back to my car, I got distracted by something shiny on the ground, and I found this. If you do want to see the video I made detailing the full history of the abandoned US Highway 60 in Arizona, just click the video in the upper left-hand corner and leave a comment saying something completely random.